If you're offended by any word in any language, it's probably because your parents were unfit to raise a child.
Hi, this is Ron Funch, and you're no, that's not my name. Use this whole thing. This is Ron Funches, and you're listening to Laughs or Else. I don't know what the or else is. I assume it's like crying.
It's about to be a fucking problem.
The following feature has been rated R by
Timur Radicek.
Parental guidance is suggested. It is intended for mature audiences and parental discretion is advised.
I want to apologize if anyone is offended by this.
I'm going to speak as the expert on funny. Funny people should just be left to trying to be funny.
Now, if any of you sons of bitches got anything else to say, now's the fucking time!
Let's see how fucking committed you are to this premise.
You know what I'm saying. You don't even know what the fuck you saying.
Just be honest. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, here's a joke that's not gonna work.
I'm hardcore. Seriously. No, this is not a joke. There's gonna be a joke coming. There's no fucking joke coming.
Do you know how cocky you gotta be to just pull that out of your ass one day and see if anybody says anything?
Go fuck yourself.
Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits.
This kind of sounds like the behavior of a drunk man, really.
This man is fucking drunk. You look like you smell like pee. Bitch, I live in a fucking trash can.
You're listening to the Laugh or Else podcast. Fuck you!
What's up, everybody? This is Timur Radicek, and you're listening to the Laugh or Else podcast. I almost fucked that up because it's been so long since I've done it. I've got a great show lined up for you today, but first, let's talk a little bit about why it's been so long since I've done this. Well, it turns out that I have finished school, the radio and television production school that I was going to. I've had finished up my internship with the television station out here in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. I've been working my ass off, 2 jobs still. In the mornings, I work at a package handling facility, and at nights and on the weekends, I work at a comedy club. I've discussed this at length before. I'm not going to say exactly which one, but I've given clues as to where. And that drop in the beginning there should be another clue, because he came through recently, Mr. Ron Funches, and I was fortunate enough to get a chance to meet him after his set, say what's up to him, and then kindly slut myself out and ask if he would give me a drop for the podcast, which he was grateful enough to do. Well, not grateful, but he was cool enough to do it, and that is probably the best shit I've gotten a chance to do so far working there. I mean, I get a chance to talk to the comedians at times, but not at any great length. I did spend a few minutes after work one night talking to Mark Normand. He's a comedian from New York City, and he agreed to chat me up sometime on the show if he ever responds to one of my DMs on Twitter. We'll see if I can get that going. But I also been taking part in another radio show, which airs Saturday nights, Sunday mornings from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. It's called the Hoppe and SuperRich Show. Now, Hoppe is a guy I met at school, and along with him, I do the show with Ryan Stuprich, who is the SuperRich half of the Hoppe and SuperRich Show. And then there's a third mic and another classmate of mine who is actually in the class that I attended, and that is Mr. Ryan Risky, who is by far one of the loudest guys I know and probably the most aware of sports when it comes to statistics and just all around news in sports. And that's what the show is today. It's going to be about sports stuff. I know it's been a while. I've only got a few clips, but I've got a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm going to play, including this next piece that I'm going to get into, which, like I said, I'm on the show with Hoppe and SuperRich on WNUR FM 89.3 in Chicago on Saturday nights. And Mr. Hoppe was lucky enough to go to Cleveland and to sit in as a phone screener on a probably worldwide syndicated radio show called Rover's Morning Glory out of Cleveland on WMMS FM, I believe. I want to say 101.3 maybe. I don't know. Seems like a rock station, and fitting enough for the morning show, Rover's Morning Glory. Rover's pretty badass. I never listened to his show up until about 2 months ago. And the guys on Twitter, the RMG crew, which follow the show, which would be the equivalent to the Opie and Anthony pests, are pretty badass too, man. I mean, they're all funny guys. And like I said, Hoppe had a chance to sit in and screen on this past Monday, which was, what was it? The 27th, 26th maybe. And it was on Rover's television, Rover TV on the internet. So what I did was I went ahead and I copped all the video, and I'm going to cut it and put it together for him so he's got a demo or whatever. And, well, I'll give you a little taste of how his appearance went. And they got into talking about a lot of stuff, and Hoppe, he's a young dude. He's got limited life experience outside of radio, but when it comes to radio, he's like the way the other guy Risky is with sports. He's like an encyclopedia of all these shows you've never heard of, or just like all kind of shit from all over the world. But they talked at length. Ryan told us a couple of stories, and Rover dug in a little bit and gave him, just asked him a whole bunch of questions about his life. And he's, he still lives at home. He's 21. He just turned 21. He's never gotten laid. He's still a virgin at his age, and he came from a tough childhood. He grew up kind of overweight. He had a lisp, a little bit of a speech impediment, and he also had like spinal issues. So he really was, and he's a tall ass guy. He's like 6'7", and he was very uncoordinated, so he never played sports. So at some point during the show, I guess they got a producer there. His name is Taint Smasher. He made a parody song from the Pharrell song, which is Happy, and they called it Hoppe, fittingly enough. And it kind of showcases some of the things they were talking about on the show. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you right now. It's a couple of minutes. Check it out. My boy Hoppe from the Hoppe and SuperRich show on Rover's Morning Glory. Thanks for checking us out. This is Tim Radicek on the Laugh or Else podcast.
Laugh
or else.
Oh, I'm sorry. How did this come about, Taint Smasher?
Pharrell called me. He was really excited about him, and he's, blowing up Hire Hoppe hashtag on Twitter and stuff.
So Pharrell saw that probably, the Hire Hoppe hashtag.
Yeah, luckily he has a studio in his basement, and he was able to record this and send it over.
Okay, all right. Let me hear. This is brand new from Pharrell. Here it is. This is about Ryan Hoppe, who is trying out for the phone screener position today.
Ryan Hoppe, clap along if you're a dude who's never seen a poon. Ryan Hoppe, clap along if your beats
Yeah. All right.
Great job, Pharrell.
A little quick song there that Pharrell did for Ryan Hoppe.
Are you impressed?
To make that in an hour, I'm beyond impressed. Like, that was damn good production work. Well done. Like, I'm amazed.
He's impressed.
Ringing endorsement of Taint Smasher.
Good job, Taint Smasher.
Ryan Hoppe. Okay. All right.
Fuck you.
There it is, my guy Hoppe on the Rover's Morning Glory radio show, mornings from 5 to 10 a.m. in Cleveland on WMMS FM. Make sure you check that out. It's an awesome show. It's probably one of the best terrestrial radio shows out there still. So give that a listen and check it out. Other than that, we're going to move on with a little bit of news. I've got some comedy news coming up here in a second. Right after that, I'm going to get into the show, which is today is going to be about sports. It's comedians talking about sports. And I've got a couple of featured performers for you guys lined up here, a couple of heavyweights, and a couple of not-so-known comedians you may not have heard of, but awesome stuff nonetheless. All right, so first, let's get into the news. Courtesy of laughspin.com, Netflix snags a Bill Burr animated series. And it goes on to say that Bill Burr will finally star in his own comedy series, but the hilarious redhead will only be heard and not seen. Burr's new animated series, F is for Family, will release exclusively on Netflix this year. The half-hour cartoon comes from Bill and Michael Price of The Simpsons and will follow the Murphy family for 6 half-hour episodes. F is for Family follows the Murphy clan in the 1970s during the good old days when you could smack your kid without getting arrested and smoke inside without being bothered. The Breaking Bad comedian will voice the family patriarch, Frank Murphy, and Laura Dern voices Frank's wife, Sue, and Justin Long from various movies. I can't think of one right now. Waiting. Check that out. On the role of Kevin, the family's eldest child. F is for Family is the show I've always wanted to do, said Burr. It captures the characters of my childhood the way I remember it. It's going to be a lot of fun to tell these stories. Burr and Price will serve as the executive producers alongside Vince Vaughn, whose Wild West comedy television production house will produce, Wild West television production house will produce the series with Gaumont International Television. Vaughn boasted, Bill is the funniest, most original voice out there. We're all excited to be working with Netflix on this project. Burr is currently starring in a pilot for FX Networks called Pariah. His latest hour-long stand-up special, I'm Sorry You Feel That Way, premieres exclusively on Netflix on December 5th. So make sure you check your listings for that and go grab Bill Burr's stand-up on Netflix. And if you're not on Netflix, there's something wrong with you. There's absolutely awesome programming happening over there on Netflix. In more comedian news, Chelsea Peretti also has a comedy special coming to Netflix called One of the Greats. Also from Laughspin here, Chelsea Peretti gets the star treatment in the trailer for her upcoming Netflix stand-up special, Chelsea Peretti, One of the Greats. Peretti's special goes live exclusively on Netflix on Friday, November 14th. Peretti goes after friendly dogs eating bananas and fedoras in the special, which is her first hour-long special. She previously had a half-hour Comedy Central Presents special in 2011. She gained nationwide recognition for her acting chops in standout roles on Louis, Kroll Show, and especially in her cast member status of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Check out her Telling It Like It Is. Next month, Chelsea Peretti, One of the Greats on Netflix. For now, check out this trailer. And I'm going to play that trailer for you because let's give it a listen. Chelsea Peretti's pretty funny. She was on Last Comic Standing, I think, of the first or second season. So, and I've never seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine, so I can't really comment on that, but I know she's pretty funny. She's been on the Opie and Anthony show, the Opie and Jim Norton show. Get into that a little bit later, but check out this trailer from her upcoming special, One of the Greats.
So many tribulations brought me to this point. All that was left was to pray to God, to thank Him for all the humility He bestowed upon me. I'm a direct vessel of God.
Let's do this! I am the shit! I like to get into it. Stand-up stance, you know, I always put my arm here so you guys will be like, uh-oh. Looks like this comedian's probably going to be telling it like it is. You learn a lot about people from how they are with their dogs. Like, there'll be some big, huge dog staring at my dog from a block away. And then the owner's like, he's friendly, he's friendly, he's friendly. I'm like, bitch, no, he's not. That's not what friendly looks like. Do you guys think it's worse to wear a fedora or kill 15 people? You want to piss off a really hot girl, find a photo where she just looks smoking hot and just be like, people say I look just like you. She'll be like, no! I don't like eating bananas in public. That is so stressful if you're a girl. It's so annoying because it's such a portable, good snack. Like, how do I de-dick this? What you do is you peel it, right? Then you break a piece off, right? Then you mash it up in your palm into a paste. And you push it up between your fingers, you eat it like,
All right, not bad. It was kind of funny. And she isn't ugly, so that's a plus. So check that out. Chelsea Peretti, One of the Greats, coming to Netflix November 14th. All right, moving along. In another story from the comedy world, Tina Fey and Fortune Feimster comedy headed to ABC. I had a chance to check out Fortune recently. She came in and did a Saturday set at the comedy show, or at the place I work. And I gotta say, I'm not one for her style of comedy, but I can see how she's funny. She's entertaining. She's captivating. Her ideas are pretty funny. It's just not my cup of tea. Like I said, she's funny, but she's not. She doesn't have the stories, or like, I don't know. It's just not what I'm into. So, Tina Fey is still trying to make her comedian. Excuse me. Tina Fey is still trying to make comedian Fortune Feimster a star after not having their Fortune-led comedy Cabot College picked up at Fox this year. Fey is executive producing a project for ABC with the former Chelsea Lately panelist as the head. The untitled project will be set in North Carolina and is based on the family life of stand-up Fortune Feimster. ABC ordered the script, but will pay a penalty if they don't order the series. There's nothing else here. There's no previews or nothing. Like they said, it was untitled thus far, and it's in the works. So we'll keep an eye out for that if you're into Fortune Feimster or Tina Fey. Moving right along. Oh, this is something recently happened where George Carlin had a section of street in New York unveiled with his name on it called George Carlin Way. And a number of awesome comedians showed up. And this next story comes from, guess where else, laughspin.com. And it details a little bit about what happened. The headline states, George Carlin, Colin Quinn, David Tell, Kelly Carlin, Jim Norton pay tribute. George Carlin Way became a reality. in New York City yesterday thanks to the work of comedian Kevin Bartini and his team of thousands of supporters. Laughspin was lucky enough to get to be at the ceremony where hundreds of fans, friends, and comedians gathered to pay tribute to the iconic comedian who died in 2008. We had a chance to chat with George's daughter Kelly Carlin, as well as Bartini, Dave Attell, Robert Klein, Judah Friedlander, Gilbert Godfrey, Colin Quinn, and Jim Norton. Carlin never seemed to respect the line in the sand of... Wait. Carlin never seemed to respect the line in the sand his audience drew, Jim Norton told Laughspin. That's why I loved him the most. He never allowed the possibility of losing the audience to stop him from going into a material idea. That's funny, Mr. Norton, because I clearly recall you stating that Richard Pryor was your favorite comedian. But enough semantics. I continue. And Kelly Carlin painted such a complete and vivid picture of her life with her dad. Walking the streets with my dad in the 70s was terrifying because people would shout out of the window, "Hey, hippie freak, go home." But in the 1980s and 90s and the aughts, especially when we came to New York City, policemen would stop in the middle of the street, double park their car, run to my dad, and get him to sign their ticket because they loved him so much. Carlin told Laughspin that was a magical thing, to see the love people had for my dad and to know how much he changed their lives and minds, the trajectory of their lives. Check out the full video on laughspin.com under the title George Carlin, Colin Quinn, David Tell, Kelly Carlin, Jim Norton pay tribute. All right. And then finally, we move on to sports news, which I had to throw in there because this is going to be a show about sports. And this one came around yesterday. Warriors co-owner Peter Guber emails hoodish instead of Yiddish. All right, so apparently hoodish is something that people are getting upset about. I guess they're calling it a derogatory term for black people, which I don't understand because hoodish doesn't exclusively mean black. You know, there are white people in the hood, there are Asian people in the hood, and most importantly, there are Hispanics in the hood. But I will continue to read. It's possible NBA owners from CBSSports.com. Warriors co-owner Peter Guber, or Guber, I don't know how the fuck you say it, emails hoodish instead of Yiddish. It's possible NBA owners shouldn't use email anymore. After Bruce Levinson and the Atlanta Hawks decided to sell his share of the team following a racially insensitive and offensive email, we've got a much milder but still avoidable situation with an owner and email. Golden State Warriors co-owner Peter Guber is in a bit of hot water after he typed the word hoodish instead of Yiddish in an email joke about languages he need to learn. The Warriors PR department forwarded an email from the NBA about the international imprint on the league's roster to people in the Warriors organization. The forwarded email mentioned the international players the Warriors had on their roster, with Andrew Bogut from Australia, Leandro Barbosa from Brazil, Festus Ezeli from Nigeria, Angel Kuzmic from Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Nemanja Nidovic from Serbia. Guber replied to the email on his phone, an iPhone, saying that he was going to learn Hungarian, Serbian, Australian, Swahili, and Hoodish this year. From Yahoo. Guber responded to the email by writing, "I'm taking Rosetta Stone to learn Hungarian, Serbian, Australia, Swahili, and Hoodish this year, but it's nice." Guber's initial email was sent throughout the franchise and construed as offensive by at least one team employee late Monday. Guber sent a follow-up email saying he mistakenly typed Hoodish and regretted the error. Some just brought to my attention that an email I responded to earlier contains the word hoodish, which I don't even think is a word. And certainly not the one I intended to use. Guber wrote an email, I intended to type Yiddish. Either my mobile phone auto-corrected it or I just typed it wrong. In any event, I regret if anyone was unintendedly offended. Aside from Australian not being a language and English being the national language of Nigeria, this does seem like an honest mistake. When I typed Yiddish into my phone, there was not an autocorrect that came up. When I typed hoodish into my phone, hooding and hoodies were the two autocorrect possibilities that came up. But that can be different based on your history of typing. More than likely, it was simply mistyped and not some deep-seated racially insensitive comment. Right. However, in today's age of the NBA, and especially following the events involving owners and executives from Donald Sterling during the playoffs to Danny Ferry's comments on a conference call that came to light this offseason, any little slip-up, intentional or not, is going to be met with an immediate reaction. Guber's mistake seems to be innocent, but that won't stop people from questioning and investigating to find out if another member of the NBA has to be removed or reprimanded for racially insensitive thoughts or actions. All right, so I'm going to offer my 2 cents on this story. I've got a phone. It uses autocorrect. And it turns out it will autocorrect something if you misspelled it to something you may have typed in before. Which means it's possible Mr. Guber here had typed the word hoodish on his phone at some point in time. Meaning it probably may not be a mistake. It may have just been one of those rich white fucking Republican jokes that he thought he can get away with, and it turned out it was actually offensive. On top of which, he said he was going to learn Yiddish by looking into Rosetta Stone. Not only Yiddish, but he said, what did he say? He's going to learn Hungarian, Serbian, Australian, Swahili, and Hoodish, which is the word in question. And that's a lot of shit to learn from Rosetta Stone. And I was curious to know, because Yiddish isn't a really widely used language, if the Rosetta Stone software offers that as a language. And here's what I found out. The closest they come to anything from Israel is Hebrew. Towards the end of the list, I'll start from the T's in alphabetical order. The languages listed are Tagalog, Thai, Turkish, Urdu, Vietnamese, and Welsh. So there's no Yiddish. And I find Mr. Guber here guilty of being a fucking racist asshat. And to the depths with you.
You're fired!
All right. I'm going to continue on here. But let's take a music break. I've had some music lined up. Oh, no. You know what? I still got one more thing. More sports news. And this is kind of going to prelude into the show today. Because I actually checked. I seen this morning. Pat Tomasulo, who is a comedian here in Chicago, is also the sports anchor on the morning news at WGN. He frequents the comedy place I work at, and I've heard his set, and he's nothing like he is on television. He is absolutely unbridled when he's on stage. His jokes are pretty dirty, and he uses a lot of words that you can't say on WGN. So he lets loose, and he goes fucking over the top. I shit you not. He's just, like I said, unbridled. There's nothing, no topic he won't touch on, from gays to abortions to everything. So I seen on WGN this morning where he walked around in front of the United Center and he stopped people on their way into the game or coming out of the game and asked them what they thought about certain players. What he did was he made up names of players that weren't actually on the Bulls that are actually fairly popular figures in history. And I'm going to let you check that out right now. From Pat Tomasulo on WGN. This is, I guess, I'm going to call it Fans Are Idiots. Right here on the Laugh or Else podcast. I'm Tim Radicek.
So opener tonight, big opener tonight.
Yeah.
You know, really the only big acquisitions the Bulls made, they're the two European players, the Spanish guys, Pau Gasol and Nikola Mirotic. With Mirotic, what they did is they got the rights to him a couple years ago. They stashed him overseas, let him develop, and a lot of people excited about him. I wanted to see how people felt about that strategy and some of the other players that the Bulls are using that strategy with. Do you like the addition to the European guys, Pau Gasol and Nikola Mirotic?
Oh, that makes it so much better. That makes it more tourism traction. I've seen YouTube videos of Mirotic.
Yeah.
So I like his shooting.
Do you think that's a good strategy to draft these guys and let them develop overseas? Like they just got that kid from the Russian league, Mikhail Gorbachev. Do you like that?
I like it, but I don't know.
They say he's like a really good passer, like he always hits his mark, even the one on his head. There's been talk about maybe them trying to go after that new kid in the Euro League, that Winston Churchill kid.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
They say what he does too is he brings a lot of people together, like he brings like a lot of allies together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need that.
He was the MVP of the Euro League championship game last year. It was like one of the best games ever. They called it the big one.
Yeah.
They're saying they want to do the same thing with the kid, the Italian league, Benito Mussolini. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it'll help out.
They got that kid in the French league, Napoleon Bonaparte.
Really, we haven't heard much from him. Hopefully, we get a lot of buzz from him, and help
They
the
say
guys.
he's like a really good floor general.
Oh, okay.
They say like he's a general. He sees everything. Like they say he's got a little bit of a complex. They have that kid in the Israeli league, Benjamin Netanyahu.
We'll give him a chance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a big guy. He's got like his patented move is he has a hook move. They call it the Netanyahu kid from the Latin American League, that Hugo Chavez kid. Do you like that?
I love it because honestly
He's really critical of the American game though, Chavez.
But I mean, should he not be? Honestly, right? I'm Spanish, so I
Go Chavez,
love
right?
him.
Yeah. They have the kid in the Greek league, that Julius Caesar kid. Do you like that strategy?
I do, because I definitely think there's some talent over there.
He likes to run up the score. Like he's always like, there are never enough points for him. He's always trying to get more points and more points and more points. And people will be like, Caesar, you got enough. And he's like, no, I don't have enough points.
I mean, that's right. You never got to let up.
They got the kid from the Indian League, Mahatma Gandhi. What do you think of that?
I'm thinking it's a good thing. It's a good thing for us. It's a good thing for the team. It's going to do good things in the roads ahead.
They say he's a little undersized, though, the Gandhi kid. Say he's a little, and he's unselfish, too. Like, last year, he went on a scoring strike. They got that one kid in the Filipino League, Imelda Marcos.
Okay. Everybody deserve a shot.
They say he's known in the Filipino League for having, like, the most shoes.
Yes, sir. Well,
just like he has a closet full of, like, the newest, he always gets the hottest style shoes.
well, he's in a new house now. He's up in the United Center, and that's where he got to bring his new shoes to.
There's another guy in the Latin League, this Castro kid, Fidel Castro. What do you think of that?
That guy, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He went to school in the States. He went to JFK High School.
But then he went over there and he played, and
Right. They call him the Cuban Missile.
Right, he built himself up over there. We're going to see how he does when he comes
He had
over here.
one game he scored 50, and they called it the Cuban Missile Crisis.
But then again, playing over there versus playing over here.
Right.
We'll see how it
We'll
turns
see how
out.
Fidel does when he gets
All right.
here.
Okay.
Yeah. All
Have
right.
a good one.
You got it.
Thank you.
Shifty, that Fidel Castro. You can't trust him with the ball.
Yep.
You got that Caesar kid. His teammates turned on him. They stabbed him in the back, Paul.
Gotta be careful.
I like nothing but Netanyahu, though. I think
that was good.
All right, welcome back. Pat Tomasulo from WGN Sports Anchor. He's also a stand-up comedian, so you can really hear that, and it translates well into his show or his segments on WGN Morning News. So check out Pat Tomasulo. You can follow him on Twitter. You can check him out if he actually leaves Chicago to do some comedy. I advise you do that because he's hilarious. So Meathead sports fans, just trying to be on camera and talk, and it's all about me kind of shit, and you can really tell who knows what about their sports. And okay, so other than that, one more story before I get into the show. Recently, Nick DiPaolo, comedian from New York, came into my venue, and he did a weekend show there. And I worked a couple of days during his show, and the Saturday event was pretty packed. It was about 300 people, and I mentioned this before in the show that you should not come to a comedy club when you're out for a bachelor party or a bachelorette party because you're fucking obnoxious. People that are gathered in the groups of 6 or more tend to become distractions at a comedy show because they talk and they just be retarded during the show. And, it happened during Nick's first show on Saturday night, the 8:30 show. There was a group of bachelorettes, about 8, maybe 9 of them, all gathered in the front of the venue, which was right off of the stage to the right of all the comedians. And I knew they were going to be a problem because before the show even started, like this Mediterranean dude, Ukrainian or something, walked up to me and he's like, "These bitches in front of me, they are fucking loud and stupid and they're going to ruin the show. I'm going to have to leave." And I'm like, "Dude, no, I'm sorry. Don't do that. I'll go over there." I didn't call him dude, but I was like, "I'll go over there and I'll say something to him." So I did. I was like, "Ladies, look, you aren't the only ones here. This is a live show. Could you please keep the talking down? Or, if you need to continue conversing, please go out in the lobby." And I thought that was it. And the opening act comes out. And usually the opening act comes out and they start talking to the crowd a little bit just to gauge where they're at and to quell all that bullshit chatter that goes on. So they start asking people, "Where are you from? Who's celebrating what? Anybody from, any marriage anniversaries or whatever?" And sure enough, this table of ratty broads jumps up and starts screaming, "Ah, woo!" They got their fucking dildo hats on and their dildo straws. And what is it with bachelorettes and the penises? I never understood that. And they're all like between 22 and 26 or 7. And so like he tells them, yeah, whatever. It's your bachelorette party. He asks them who's getting married when and blah, blah, blah. And that was it. He goes off stage, and then the featured act comes out, which is a 15-minute set from another guy that frequents the venue, and they did not shut up. So again, one of the other doormen over there had gone over to the table and were like, "Listen, you gotta be cool. This was, people around you are getting kind of upset. Could you keep the talking down?" And immediately they were combative. Oh, man, when you tell somebody to shut up, they don't want to hear it, and it's fucking ridiculous. The one girl starts to protest, and I guess she's the ringleader of the night out, and she's holding all the bus tickets, and she starts telling my other door guy, she's like, "Oh, we're just laughing. Why are you telling us to be quiet? We're just trying to enjoy the show." And he explains to her that everybody around you can't enjoy the show because they can hear you talking over the performers, and that's kind of BS, so keep it down. And then the act continues, undisturbed for a moment, and then he has to say something to their table, the comedian again, He's like, listen, ladies, you know, could you shut the fuck up? Like, give me a moment to finish up, you know, just quit your talking or whatever. And they shut up for a little bit, and then finally Nick DiPaolo comes out. And that same couple that was telling me that, you know, they were obnoxious before the show comes back, and this time it's the woman in the group, the couple. And she's like, I was born and raised in Chicago, and these bitches don't know that I will fuck them up. And I'm like, listen, hold your horses, cool your jets. No violence is necessary. We'll go over there and talk to them one more time. This time, we're more aggressive. The other doorman pulls the girl off to the side, takes her out into the little coat room area, which is just off the show floor. And they start talking for a good 2 or 3 minutes. And he's like, listen, you know, I've told you, me and the other door guy have told you several times already, please keep the volume down. Or if you're going to talk, go out in the hallway. You've been addressed by 2 of the comedians already. Let's, you know, try not to ruin the rest of the show, the act for Nick DiPaolo and the people around you. And it's still, she's being combative. Like, we're just trying to have a good time. Why are you trying to tell us we're being too loud? It's like people don't understand, like, there is etiquette that you must adhere to when you're in a live show. You don't go to a play and start shouting bullshit and just being stupid and obnoxious and laughing with your little group. You know, it's, you know, you're ruining it for everybody around you, and it's distracting to the people on stage. So they sit down, Nick DiPaolo comes out, and that was it. She was told that it's the final straw. It's the last, you know, the next time we come to your table, it's going to be with the waitress, and you're going to pay your bill, and you're going to get the hell out of here. And sure enough, 5 minutes into Nick DiPaolo's set, they're just laughing and causing a ruckus that the couple that was sitting behind them that came up to me before and during the show had moved. They wanted a different table. They're like, I can't stand this shit. So we escorted them out. That was it. And the whole way out, it was funny. Nick saw us gathering them up to take them out, and they're shouting at him like he's going to help us. No, he's not going to help you. He was like, that's it, we'll see you later. Or I can't remember exactly. I wish I had it recorded. It was the funniest shit. But we take him on to the lobby. The manager comes out, and he's like, you ladies ain't going until you pay the bill. And they're trying to walk out. All 8 of them walk out, and then finally I step in front of the door before the 9th one leaves, and I said to her, you're going to pay the bill even if these girls don't come back for you. And she was like, okay, whatever. And the one fat one of the group, the usual cock blocker, comes back in. Well, no, we're not paying. We're going. We get our stuff and we're leaving. We're not going to pay. They're throwing us out. And we called the cops. And we made them pay. Otherwise, there would have been some hell in the kitchen, because that would have been over like $200 in the bill. But Nick, the rebel that he is, addressed the issue on his show. And I'm going to play that for you right now. And check it out. It's Nick DiPaolo discussing the incident that happened at the club right here on the Laugh or Else podcast.
Laugh
or else.
It was good. There's only one thing. There was a Saturday night first show, which is sold out. Is a woman having a birthday. Girls, can I speak to you? Now, this goes for guys too, but mostly girls. Don't come to the friggin' comedy club if it's your birthday or a bachelorette party. Why would you want to do that, right? I mean, don't you want to go someplace where you can actually talk and have fun and get drunk? And the club sat them right up front, pretty close to the front. And I didn't even really know, but I was in the green room, and the first guy came in, the MC, and said, there's a fucking obnoxious birthday party. And I'm like, oh, come on. I wish these clubs would just, I guess they have to do it. I guess they have to book them because these broads drink a ton of booze, and, you know, who's going to turn away a party of 12 or whatever? But it never works out good. It never does. And sure enough, there were people complaining, actually during the second act show, complaining to the manager these girls are being too loud. So they were warned repeatedly before I got up there. And they were good for about 10 minutes. And then, the girls got this thing on her head. I don't even know what the fuck. I made of tinfoil or some shit. I don't know if she had leftovers from Toby Keith on her fucking head. I don't know what it was. But her friends, they get loud. You get drinks, and chicks get drinks and don't realize how loud they're talking. So I asked them to be quiet once, and then they started yelling out one more time. And then the club jumped in and threw them out, which they were just doing their job. I didn't really realize how much shit went down before I had come to the stage, because I was in the green room watching college football with my hand down my pants. And so the manager jumps in. It's just a judgment call. A lot of times we'll have a little signal we say to the door people or the security, like, can you get me a club soda, and throw in that fat broad's face. So they toss these girls, and of course one of them yells, we're being thrown out because we were laughing too loud, which is not, they always say that. So it's so classic. I've seen this 1,000 times. They always, we were thrown out because we were laughing. No, you weren't. You're being fucking chatty bitches, and you got all mouthy, and you got beer balls, and you're way too bumptious. I love that word. So they were asked to leave, but it's a tough call because then the rest of the chicks in the audience are like, oh, this guy had those girls thrown out. What an asshole. It depends on, like, if they've had enough of them, which the tables around were complaining. But if the audience, the audience, that's a touchy situation. There's a delicate balance in a live comedy club, because if you throw a table out too quickly, then they sort of blame it on whoever's on stage. Like, this guy won't let us do anything. But they were obnoxious enough when the MC was on and the feature act. So people were kind of glad. I heard a little bit of a round of applause when they were asked to be thrown. I actually defended them the first time in my life. I wish we got this on tape. But I said, nah, you don't have to go. I don't want them to, but the manager insisted on it. And then when I heard what went on earlier, I couldn't blame them, So... But nobody gives a fuck. It's your birthday, okay? It's not Chuck E. Cheese. I'm not a friggin' clown. Well, kind of, but nobody cares. You're an adult. For Christ's sake. Last time I get excited about my birthday, I was at the University of Maine, This woman was like, no spring chicken. You're a friggin' adult. What the fuck? Sit down. Shut up. Okay, it's your day. We're going to let the other 200 people that pay to get in have their night ruined by you.
You're listening to the Laugh or Else podcast.
Welcome back to the Laugh or Else podcast. Nick DiPaolo discussing the incident we had at the club during his performance with some chatty whores who ruined the show. All right, that's about it for news and updates. Other than that, just a couple of things I want to touch on briefly. Since the last show I did, a couple of comedians have died, Robin Williams being one of them, and what's her name? Joan Rivers. So I say rest in peace to those comedy innovators. And another big thing had happened, the Opie and Anthony show on Sirius XM was split in half when Anthony Cumia from the Opie and Anthony show went on a wild Twitter tirade about a woman that beat him up in Times Square. This happened over the 4th of July weekend. Wow, it's been that long. And throughout his tweeting, he said some things that were questionable, but it was picked up by Gawker and then spread across a bunch of other liberal rag networks like the Young Turks and some other Think Progress think tank. And before the weekend even started, Saturday morning, Cumia gets a letter from SiriusXM saying he's been terminated for racial slander or something or other, but they didn't even wait till Monday to bring him into the office and talk it out with him. They just kind of, during the vacation that everybody was on, this media had gotten to the higher-ups at SiriusXM, and they were asking about, a response because of these tweets, and apparently they didn't respond fast enough, so they went on to say that maybe, I guess, Sirius, condones this kind of behavior and they're sheltering him. So they fired him the next morning. And so Saturday morning, the team of Opie and Anthony had been split up, and the show continues to this day. It's now just Opie and Jim Norton. And it's not a bad show, but it's missing that dynamic comedic element that Cumia brought to the show. Cumia has since started his own web show where it's available at anthonycumia.com. You could check it out. You could watch it, or you could just subscribe for audio. But you'd probably want to subscribe for the video as well, because he does everything through a Telecaster, so it's kind of like a news presentation. He's got pictures and backdrops and stuff that you want to check out. And plus, recently he had some model on his show who was doing a topless kind of interview. So, people on the audio-only side weren't getting the full effect. Or, being able to see that kind of stuff. But he posted a few pictures on Twitter. So go ahead and follow Anthony Cumia, Opie Radio, and Jim Norton. All right. Now that we're a good 40 minutes in, let's start the show. Today's show was dedicated to sports, and I've got a number of awesome clips to play for you. I don't know if I'll get to them all, because I'm going to try to run a solid hour this time, as opposed to 96 minutes or 144 minutes, however long they've been in the past. So I'm going to cut the bullshit right now, and we're going to get into some sports clips from the comedians. And since I mentioned Meathead sports fans already, I'm going to go to Mr. Doug Stanhope. And this is a clip about those Meathead sport fans. Check it out right here on the Laugh or Else podcast.
Fuck you. Is this town excited about the Nationals? Because I was an Expos fan. Just because who gives a fuck about baseball? Baseball players are all douchebags for whatever. They're like cops. It's the most joyless sport. They look like cops. Like any other sport, they're happy to be there and they high five and they pump up the crowd. And baseball players all sit around with their arms crossed with that smug arrogance like cops have. When you see cops, they pulled you over for no registration, but you're a fucking minority, so they had to bring out 12 of them and spend 45 minutes doing. And they all just sit there with that smug, self-assured, I'm a joyless cocksucker look on their face. That's what baseball players look like. This unhappy fucking date rapists. Even the Red Sox, man. The Red Sox, they're supposed to be the scruffy team, and yeah. Well, whatever. That's not the point. The point is they still look like fucking narcs, even though they're scruffy. Would you buy pot from Johnny Damon? No. Fucking cut your hair, you fake hippie. You look like a narc. You're no Serpico. But I always have a favorite no matter what the sport, and the Expos were my favorite because it's like Delaware. It's what team you forget exists. You forget Delaware's a state. Maybe not you because you're near it, but everyone else doesn't know it's a state. And the Expos you forgot were a team. But you get the Nationals now that were the Expos. And evidently they're going to fucking trash the queer section of town to build the stadium. Is that the... There was a homosexual uproar. Hang on, uproar. Can I get another small shot of Jägermeister? There's some death for you. No, there was a very small story. Not that the queers usually make the fucking big print, but yeah, because there's evidently a big gay area around here that they're going to tear down to build the stadium. And they were upset where I wish I had the number to the gays so I could call them, because don't protest. Just adopt the Nationals as America's gay team. Ain't shit they can do about it. Just get the fucking queer networking going and just go, yeah, no, we're going to love the Nationals and we're going to show up every fucking doubleheader, every matinee game, and fucking Daisy Dukes with a hairy ass cheek coming out the bottom, T-shirt tied up between the tits, glory holes drilled in the men's room wall. They keep trying to duct tape over those glory holes, but every Saturday there's a new one drilled. Just make it the gay team. They can't. It's kind of like gang members made the Raiders the fucking gang member team. You don't think the Raiders were seeking that out? They don't want the fucking gang members stabbing people in the stands for wearing a Chargers jersey. Too fucking bad. Gang members chose you. Suck it up. Maybe that's why they hired a fucking 38-year-old quarterback to suck for a few years. Maybe get rid of him. Maybe they'll be too embarrassed to support us. Go Raiders! Go Raiders! Yeah, whatever. Fucking arrogant asshole fans. You don't hate the team. You hate the fans that are arrogant douchebags about supporting the team. Because all you are is a fucking chump sitting in the stands drinking overpriced beer, and you're the fucking dupe. But if you're gonna root for someone, I like sports because I gamble on them. I have money on the game. There's the difference. If you have money on the game, it's kind of like having stock in a company. You're part of the team. Right? You have a vested interest. You're just going to be some shithead screaming in the fucking stands. Pick an underdog and have some character, right? That's why I hate Yankees fans. Well, I mean, if you're going to be an arrogant prick about them, because they're so arrogant, but the Yankees bought their team, man. They're supposed to win. They spend more money than anyone else. They're supposed to win. They have the edge. So if you're going to be a shithead about, that's so weak of character. To be a loudmouth cocksucker yelling for the Yankees, unless you have money on the game. That's the same as going to a casino and cheering for the house. And being a cunt about it, too. It's like standing behind a blackjack table. Oh, dealer busted your ass, bitch, huh? That's my dealer, faggot. Have some of that. Have some of that. You don't even have money on the table, dude. What are you fucking talking about? Of course you're supposed to win. You didn't take any chance here whatsoever. I can hate that. America loves an underdog. Bullshit. America loves an underdog like a coyote likes a three-legged cat. America would rape and fucking pillage and chuck an underdog under the bus, unless the underdog won first, and then they could hop on its bandwagon going, I was here the whole time. America's a fucking mindless, meathead, limp dick, angry mob without a cause.
Doug Stanhope right here on the Laugh or Else podcast. And speaking of baseball, I'm not really a fan. Well, I used to be. I played baseball for about 9 years when I was growing up. And I followed sports fucking in a dedicated way to the point where I was just convinced that one day I would be an athlete, but that wasn't the case. I found out that my eyesight is pretty bad, and I'm not as coordinated as I'd like to be. But in baseball news, the Kansas City Royals beat San Francisco last night to force a Game 7 in this year's World Series. So kudos to them. I hope they win. On top of that, I'm just going to move right along because I got a little bit of time left before I got to end this show. And I'm going to follow with baseball and actually football with somebody I mentioned earlier in the show, Mr. George Carlin. So check this out. This is his baseball versus football bit right here on the Laugh or Else podcast.
You're listening to the Laugh or Else podcast.
like to talk a little bit about baseball and football. Starting with baseball. Baseball is different from any other sport in a lot of different little ways. For instance, in most sports, you score points or you score goals. In baseball, you score runs. In most sports, the ball or the object is put in play by the offensive team. In baseball, the defense puts the ball in play, and only the defensive team is allowed to touch the ball. In fact, in baseball, if an offensive player touches the ball intentionally, he's out. Also, most sports, the team is run by a coach. In baseball, the team is run by a manager. And only in baseball does the manager or the coach have to wear the same uniform the players do. Can you picture Bill Parcells in his New York Giants uniform? Now, baseball and football are different from one another in other kind of interesting ways, I think. First of all, baseball is a 19th century pastoral game. Football is a 20th century technological struggle. Baseball is played on a diamond, in a park, the baseball park. Football is played on a gridiron in a stadium, sometimes called Soldier Field or War Memorial Stadium. Baseball begins in the spring, the season of new life. Football begins in the fall when everything is dying. In football, you wear a helmet. In baseball, you wear a cap. Football is concerned with downs. What down is it? Baseball is concerned with ups. Who's up? Are you up? I'm not up. He's up. In football, the specialist comes in to kick. In baseball, the specialist comes in to relieve someone. In football, you receive a penalty. In baseball, you make an error. Whoops. Football has hitting, clipping, spearing, blocking, piling on, late hitting, unnecessary roughness, and personal fouls. Baseball has the sacrifice. Football is played in any kind of weather. Rain, sleet, snow, hail, mud. Can't read the numbers on the field, can't read the yard markers, can't read the players' numbers. The struggle will continue. In baseball, if it rains, we don't come out to play. I can't come out to play. It's raining out. Baseball has a 7th inning stretch. Football has the 2-minute warning. Baseball has no time limit. We don't know when it's going to end. We might have extra innings. Football is rigidly timed, and it will end even if we have to go to sudden death. In baseball, during the game in the stands, there's kind of a picnic feeling. Emotions may run high or low, but there's not that much unpleasantness. In football, in the stands during the game, you can be sure that at least 27 times you were perfectly capable of taking the life of a fellow human being. Preferably a stranger. And finally, the objectives of the two games are totally different. In football, the object is for the quarterback, otherwise known as the field general, to be on target with his aerial assault, riddling the defense by hitting his receivers with deadly accuracy, in spite of the blitz, even if he has to use the shotgun. With short bullet passes and long bombs, he marches his troops into enemy territory, balancing this aerial assault with a sustained ground attack which punches holes in the forward wall of the enemy's defensive line. In baseball, the object is to go home and to be safe. I hope I'll be safe at home. Safe at home.
The legendary George Carlin right here on the Laugh or Else podcast. And baseball versus football, it's a clear-cut example of which is the predominant sport here in America. Football is probably more viewed and more cared about than just about any other major league sport here. I followed football for a number of years, just like basketball or baseball, but I was involved in fantasy football because I couldn't actually play football myself, so I had to pretend that I organized a team and competed against other nerdy losers for the title of fantasy football champion. I've been doing that since 1993, and when I did that, it was well before the internet when I started. So you had to check your scores on Monday when you finally got the newspaper, and you had to be pretty organized and do a lot of research and add up your own points. And it was a difficult task, but well worth your time if you were a fucking retarded sports nut like that. But still, I also mentioned that I played baseball for a number of years growing up, and the farthest I made was Pony League. You know, when I started throwing overhand and fast pitch and that kind of stuff, and wasn't the greatest at it. And I'm about to share a clip of another fella who played baseball when he was younger. You might know him. He's one of the cleaner comedians out there, but this is Brian Regan. And his stories about Little League Baseball. Check it out right here on the Laugh Rails podcast.
My parents didn't know what to do with me. They got me into Little League Baseball. I played out in right field because I stunk. But you don't know, you just show up, you know. Oh, I got my glove. You any good? I don't know, my mom told me to come out here. We'll get out in right field. Okay. Turn around, you moron. Oh, okay. Not the whole way. Oh, only some way. I never knew what was going on out in right field. All I knew is at the end of the game, I'd get a free snow cone. That's all I knew. Yeah? Be out there, oh, free snow cone. Free snow cone. Brian, what's the score? Free snow cone. Free snow cone at the end of the game. If you play, they're going to give you a free snow cone. Even if you play half game, you get the whole, you don't get a half snow cone, you get a whole snow cone for half the game. The people that play whole game get a whole snow cone, and the people that play half game get a whole snow cone. So it's always whole snow cone. So I'd rather play half game. Still get the whole snow cone. How many outs, Brian? Grape! I'm gonna get grape or cherry. They're both favorites. So either one is good. If they have both, I'll get grape though, because that's a little more favorite. But if they don't have grape, it's like, oh, that's fine, because cherry's favorite anyway, you know? So it's like another favorite, but not as much. Not as much favorite. But they're both good. They're both good. All right, Brian, you just have fun out there. Okay. The second baseman would give me signals to get me involved in the game, you know? He'd like, put his outside fingers up. Okay, Brian, got 2 away. 2 away, Brian. I don't know what he's talking about. Okay. Brian, 2 away. You too. And our coach would yell from the dugout every now and then, Hey guys, let's hear some chatter out there. Let's hear some chatter. What are we, rabbits? Might as well have been, Chattering is saying, hey, batter, batter, over and over again. I don't think I ever felt like more of an idiot my whole life. Out in the field going, hey, batter, batter, hey, batter, hey, batter, batter, hey, batter, hey, batter, hey, batter, hey. Hey, batter, 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 hey. Hey, coach, is there a point to this? What is that, for the batter's benefit? Hey, batter, batter. Hey, fielder, fielder. Hey, batter, batter, batter. Hey, fielder, fielder, fielder. They're communicating. And as the ball got to him, we're all supposed to lean in and go, hey, batter, batter, swing. Like he couldn't get a hit when he yelled that. Oh! Swinging a... Did you hear what they yelled, Coach? If that's fair, they should do that in all adult sports, you know? I'd like to see that out in the golf course. You know, hey, golfer, golfer! Hey, golfer, 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 putt! Putt, golfer! It's right there, putt! What the hell's the matter with you, Ralph? I'm just trying to make it fun. Why do you learn that? Are you supposed to apply that later in life? Hey, lawyer, lawyer! Hey, lawyer, 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 hey, lawyer! Sue! Sue, lawyer! Bus driver, drive, drive! Shift bus driver! What the hell's the matter with you? I learned that as a kid. I was just applying it. The only compliment I ever got in Little League Baseball was, good eye, Brian. Good eye, Brian. Well, thank you. Good torso. I noticed you during the trunk rotations. Good eye. They would say that when you're too scared to even consider swinging the bat. The ball would graze your head at about 100 miles an hour. Ah! Good eye, Brian. Oh, thank you. What did I do? You moved your head out of the way of the fastball. Oh, good, good. I'm glad I did that. I almost didn't, but then I did. Go team. Go team, go. I used to get scared getting up to bat. And what made it worse was the kids out on the field on the other team. I don't even know these kids. And they're all out there yelling, easy out, easy out. Everybody move in, easy out. How do you handle that when you're 9 years old? Hey, they're walking towards me. The outfielders are playing in on the clay. The infielders are going through my pockets. Easy out. Easy out. I'm like going, hey, that's my gum. I played softball this last year. I struck out in slow pitch softball. Let me tell you something. It's not a whole lot more humbling in life than striking out in slow pitch. Walk back to the dugout, you know, your teammates are older than Little League. They try not to laugh, but it's kind of hard not to. You know, you sit next to them, they're going... What can they say? Wow, he throws a wicked 12-foot arc. It's hard to hit in only 3 tries. Should be a bigger ball. Should be a kickball. We should play 10-strike kickball. You know, that's what we should. They call it softball. Makes it sound like it's harmless, you know? You ever take a line shot to the face with a softball? You don't go, hey, that's downy soft. That was like a big ball of cotton. Hey, don't worry about that. That's Blood Light. We're playing softball. We're all gonna float around like angels.
All right, everybody. That was Brian Regan right here on the Laugh or Else podcast. And I know I keep saying that right here and check it out. And those are just kind of like radio things that I do. Probably need to get over that, use some other terminology. Maybe I can expand my vocabulary a little bit before the next show. But I'm going to get into one more clip here before I wrap this up. And this is probably one of my all-time favorite bits from one of my all-time favorite comedians. And I hope you enjoy it. This is Richard Pryor, and he's going to talk about his experience getting in the ring with Muhammad Ali and a little bit about when he boxed his Golden Gloves when he was a kid. So, without further ado, we're going to get into Richard Pryor right here on the Laugh or Else podcast. Stay tuned.
You're listening to the Laugh or Else podcast. Fuck you!
Ali, man, I got in the ring one time. The Ali, man, is awesome. A nigga, I was in a benefit with him just for fun boxing, and just to get in the ring with a nigga, your heart go, No, because something make you say, you know, I'm in this motherfucking ring and shit, and does everybody know this is for fun? You know, because the nigga be fucking with you, right? As soon as you get in the ring, I'll be talking about. I said, wait a minute, does this nigga know this a benefit? He ain't supposed to hit my ass up in this motherfucker. And the nigga is so fast, you don't see his punches till they coming back. That's all you see, right? In your mind be saying, wait a minute now. There was some shit in my face a minute ago. I know that. Ali came out, man, he threw about 8 punches, about a quarter inch from my nose. He said, I said, shit. And I was happy to be in the ring with the champ. You know what I mean? It was really nice. But my mind kept saying, I said, what happened if this nigga had one of them Joe Frazier flashbacks? You know what I mean? He might go, round 11, Joe Frazier. And it give me brain damage for life, right? I mean, freaky-deaky. That boxing a hard hustle, though. Boom. I used to box in the Golden Gloves. I was good in the gym. It was in the ring where I had my trouble. I was a motherfucker in the gym hitting the heavy bag, you know, bam, 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 because the bag don't move. Because you get in the ring, niggas be talking about. I said, hey, coach, what about this shit here? I said, this nigga moving. And I always had to box them dudes that looked like they just killed their parents. You know, you ever seen them niggas with them big rusty ass hands? Kind of hand you can strike a match in the middle of it. Right, they come out at the bell beating themselves up. Right, a ding. I said, well, he don't give a fuck about me. He kicking his own ass. And the coach say, stick and move, stick and move. And you be scared when you have your first boxing, right? You be doing. And you get one in, right, pip. You look at your own shit. You say, hey, this shit might work. Right, and then you start trying a little bit. Pang, pang, pip, ping, pip, ping. Then it get good to you, right? And I fucked around, left one of them pings out there too long. And I saw this nigga's eyes got real red. And in his mind, I know he was saying, I'm gonna kill them ribs. And he hit me with a punch he got from Mississippi. It came from Mississippi in slow motion. It said, gained momentum in Georgia. Swept up through Louisiana. And my body said, get the fuck out the way. I couldn't move though. And my mind said, drop your arm, block the punch, and counter with your right. But my arm said, I ain't got nothing to do with it. And he hit me in the ribs. And, oh. You ever had air leave your body? Air just said, fuck it. And then he saw my other side was weak. He said, oh, you want some air? And I kept trying to fall. But my legs was in good shape. They wouldn't fall. My legs just looked at me and said, where in the fuck should we fall? Ain't nobody hit us. Shit, you gonna make us look bad because you can't take an ass whooping? You better raise your ass back up there, Jack. I had one nigga whoop me so good, I thought he was playing kunga on my body. I said, boom, dee, 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 boom, 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 that, boom, boom. I started dancing with the motherfucker. Hey, bang, 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 bang. And what hurts you most in boxing, like when you box, right, is the motherfuckers that hit you in the body. I mean, you can deal with them wild swinging motherfuckers, right? Because you just block the punch, get out. But them body punches, Jack, you come out with your guard like this at first, you be all up here. Okay, about round 5, you come out. And and you forget your chin is open, right? You be done. You can't hit me in the ribs now. Can't hit you in the chin. Wow! And your legs are the first thing to go, right? Your legs say, excuse me. I'm falling. I don't know about you. And you be saying, no legs, hang in there, fuck it. And you be down, Jack. You start looking in the audience for your parents. Hi, Mom. I'm okay. Referee counting and shit, you know, I don't know what the fuck you counting for. I ain't getting up. I'm gonna make sure this fight's over. I ain't getting out of the ring till they start sweeping up. And there's always somebody in the audience talking about, get up! Get up! Fuck you! That's how I got down here in the first place.
Richard Pryor, the hilariously funny bit about his meeting with Muhammad Ali and his stint in the boxing world. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Laugh Rails podcast about sports. I hope you enjoyed yourself as much as I did, and I'll be back again in about a week or so with another brand new episode, tossing around some subjects, and I think I'm going to hit one that's kind of taboo, maybe something that's close to home with a lot of people that might be listening. But I also want to thank you for enduring this experimental episode. I bought some new gear, so I'm trying out the podcast situation from the homeland here at home. And that's about it. So thanks for listening. Make sure you tune in and get at me on the Twitter. I'm at TIMM_3R. Hit me up on the Facebook. Make sure you check out the Laugh Rails podcast fan page there. And send me some messages. I'd love to hear what you think. All right. Until we meet again, live, love, and laugh. It's Tim Radicek for the Laugh Rails podcast.